Hello, Internet. This is take three. As you guys know, sometimes it just kind of flows right out, and I just do one take. That's probably 80% of the time. But uh, today I've been struggling for, I don't know why. It's just sometimes I get tongue tied or I forget where I'm going. But anyway, it is take three that I'm trying to communicate a short ish video just to update everybody on what's been going on. Um, I know I promised that I would give uh, an update and let you know what happened on Friday the 31st. I was at Mayo Clinic from 6:40 in the morning until 4:40 in the afternoon. I had labs and scans in the morning. I had oncology and then radiology oncology and then vascular medicine in the afternoon. And there may have been another appointment in there somewhere, but it was a really good day. It was really easy and smooth, to be honest. And I can't believe I was there for 10 hours because when the day was over, I was like, wow, that did not seem like 6:40 a.m. to 4:40 p.m. wandering around Mayo Clinic. All my appointments were on time. My results came in very quickly. That's one thing I got to hand it to Mayo compared to any other place that I go for appointments or whether it's my primary care physician and that health system or whether it's Minnesota Oncology. There's several others that I've been involved in the last 3.5 or 4 years, several other health systems. And sometimes I wait a couple of days for results to come in. But I tell you, Mayo is on top of it. I had every single one of my results in about 2 hours. That includes all the narratives from the CT scans. So there was really not a lot of time for me to be anxious. As I've described in the past, one of the things that's hardest for me is after the CT scan, sitting around and hitting refresh, 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 refresh on the Mayo portal, waiting for those results to pop up. I didn't hardly have to do that at all. I had notifications before I was even expecting them. The bottom line is that it's basically good news. I'm stable. I always make this clarification between being stable and being cancer-free or NED. I've never been cancer-free or NED, but I have been very fortunate and blessed to have very minimal disease. And as you've heard me talk about, they refer to it as lazy and indolent and non-aggressive. So, my last treatment, immunotherapy, chemotherapy, was April 22nd, which was 3 weeks, exactly 3 weeks, or I'm sorry, 3 months and 1 week before these scans and labs. And fortunately, there's been very little movement or progression since my last treatment. And that has kind of been the pattern the last 2.5 years. As you know, I've been through 3 major rounds of treatment since May, June of 2024. So that's a little over 2 years ago. And I have always been able to get away with having this first set of scans and labs after 3 months being basically okay. It's then in 6 months that we start to see enough progression, although even then it has been minimal, but enough progression for me to get back on some kind of treatment. So again, the pattern repeats itself. There is one little nodule in my lung, in one of my lungs, I can't remember, left, that did grow from like 3 to 5 millimeters, which is still sub criteria. There are other tiny little 2 and 3 millimeter nodules in that lung, which have been stable and have never grown. So once again, that's the example of the lazy, indolent, non-aggressive nature. They don't even, that small, it's not even possible to do a biopsy. But based on my past history, we think that probably is metastatic cancer, but it's just that it's not going anywhere, and it's not even to the size that can be biopsied or ablated or really dealt with. So it's watch and wait. In my liver, there is nothing new at all, and that's great news. There's one area that's in that, you've heard me talk about it before. They tried to ablate it in February and they couldn't get to it. It's in a very difficult location. It's up against the stomach. And with an ablation, you would have to go in there with tools and actually displace the stomach, which could cause bruising and at least some trauma and pain, residual pain. And actually, even with the ultrasound and the guiding CT equipment, they couldn't even adequately identify and determine what was going on with that spot in the liver. The CT scan calls it a hypodensity. It doesn't even say that it's definitively a malignant tumor or a malignant lesion. But as my radiology oncologist said, because of my past history, it's better to assume guilty until proven innocent, if you can follow that. So we, again, watch and wait. There was slight growth according to the radiology oncology people, but the radiologist that did the CT scan said it was completely stable. In other words, there is not enough progression on that thing, and it's too indeterminate for us to go back on chemotherapy or to try some procedures. So basically, we leave it alone. The only other thing that's going on is that I do have a couple of lymph nodes. That always happens where it turns out there's a couple of lymph nodes that have grown slightly, but they are also sub-criteria for treatment or intervention. All that to say that I'm in good shape for the next 3 months. They told me to go away and come back in 3 months, which will be late October or early November. And the one other thing, again, as you know, my CT scans at the end of April showed that I had pulmonary embolisms. They were very small. That's technical language for small blood clots, which can be a side effect of my treatment, my chemo. And they put me on a dose of Eliquis. Those have totally resolved. They're completely gone. But they're saying that they would like for me to remain on Eliquis, and we will, in 3 months, we'll reevaluate, but probably even trim that dose even lower, because it is good in my situation to be on at least a small dose of the blood thinner. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, because I realize I've had a lot of really long videos lately, and this is the crux of the matter. And I, of course, appreciate all of you who check in and you're waiting to see and waiting to hear what's up. And I thank you all for your concern, for your love, for your encouragement, for your support, for your prayers, for your good vibes, however you want to call it. There are those of you that I know knock on heaven's door and pray fervently for me. And then there's others of you who are just supportive and encouraging and positive in other ways, in your own way. And all of that is extremely valuable to me, and I appreciate it so much, as you know. So to each and every one of you who's out there today and who has checked in, I thank you, and we will celebrate this good news together. And I'm looking forward to being able to finish out the summer and the first part of the fall season without having to be back under some kind of cancer treatment. It feels very nice, believe me. All right, that's it for now. Bye-bye, guys.